Well, it's great to welcome to the Aotearoa Rugby podcast, Joel Lam from Moana, Pasifika. Joel, even just hearing that, Joel Lam from Moana, Pasifika, how does that kind of feel, knowing that you're a Super Rugby player and you're out there and you're doing it?
Yeah, it's quite cool. Always dreamed to be on the stage, and I suppose 6 months ago, um, didn't think this would be the pathway that I'd be going down, but things happened pretty quickly, and now I'm here. Yeah,
I mean, let's take it back a step. You said, you had the Crusaders and then you didn't quite get where you wanted to go there. And then you went to rugby league and you had a crack in Hornby and over in Oz. How did that work out? Why did you decide to make the change, and what was your mindset then, and where were you thinking your career was going when the initial plan hadn't quite worked out?
yeah. So was raised in Christchurch and went through the systems there, and I mean it's a pretty hard pull to crack anyway. There's a lot of talent that goes through there, so I was grateful enough to debut for Canterbury and Crusaders, which I still, that's a dream that I've ticked off, and so I just suppose the pathway that I'm on is supposed to be in this direction. And the league stint was, I learned a lot. I suppose the way it popped up was I was playing club rugby, had just been, I wasn't on contract, and so for the season I'd played this, that would have been my 5th club season, so I was like, well, it's all good and well playing local club rugby, but we ended up playing a league team in a preseason fixture for our club, and I just had a bit of an eye opener and played hooker and had a bit of a run and thought, oh, this is really fun, so why not give it a crack? And then just registered for the local Christchurch team and wasn't tied to any clubs or anything, so I just thought I'd give it a crack and learn some different things and how they play, and then decided if I did want to go play league, it wouldn't be in New Zealand, it would be over in Australia, where obviously league's very massive. So got in contact, and Karmichael Hunt gave me a call, said, yeah, we're happy to have you over at the South Slogan Magpies, and just gave it a crack, moved everything over, and I wasn't on contract or anything, so I had nothing to lose.
Geez, that's a person to learn from.
Yeah, I had Lote Tuqiri and Karmichael Hunt, so I was playing a bit of BRL and was training with the Q Cup team, but Lote Tuqiri is my coach and Karmichael was the Q Cup coach, so I was in and around some good roosters, and learned heaps.
You speak about that role of playing hooker. There is an element with the way that you approach a breakdown and your vision and your ability to know whether to go blind, or there's an opportunity for you to run, or even draw that initial defence in and then give a nice crisp pass. Do you think you've grown that through that experience?
Yeah, I've definitely got a lot more awareness now. Just picking the brains of the hookers over in league. We're all the very, very much similar craft. We all work together over there and did extra sessions, and I just asked them lots of questions about what they see and how they do it, because obviously they've got a little bit more time on the ball before they make a decision. So I suppose transferring that back into rugby, it was, how can I do that with 2 seconds when there's a ruck? And so just learning to count numbers, what you look for, indicators, when to run, when not to. League was almost the platform that allowed me to kind of build my awareness.
And then the kicking game, were you able to take your halfback kicking game into rugby league, or it's quite different kicking from the base in rugby league?
Well, me being me, I just love to try create moments and stuff, and I think one of the first touches, it was like the first or second touch, I just kicked we were down in that half, and normally leagueies, they're just straight up the guts, but I just picked out and then just kicked it, and then I didn't hit a 40-20, but got pretty close to, and then we turned them on the back foot, and I feel like a lot of those league boys kind of were like, oh, like, that's actually kind of smart. You can actually do that. You don't actually have to take 4 tackles to get up the middle of the field. So we just kind of bounced off each other with ideas on what we do in union. Obviously, it's Gamma territory, so it's just it was very interesting trying to take the kicking element into league, try to set it up, but also try and create from the cuff.
Perfect little hybrid, a little bit of Cam Smith in there as well, a little bit of mastermind.
Don't know about that.
The hookers have to tackle a lot too in league, don't they? Did you have to get through a workload?
Yeah, I've still got a crook back. I think I racked up around 35 tackles a game. Yeah, it was very physically demanding, and I think I had to learn how to kind of manage my energy, especially when you're going repeated 6 sets, and then you have to back it up off the attack. You only get about 20 seconds rest between each set. And so just learning how to manage your energy was quite important. And obviously then you're straight back into the D line and making tackles off the back fence.
Do you reckon it's made you fitter? Mate, 76 minutes against the Crusaders and you're still one of the fastest round the field. You seem to have a massive engine.
I feel like I've always had a bit of an engine. That's something I pride myself on, being able to go for longer periods than other people. And league was different because you're doing it for a longer period of time, and it's a lot shorter and sharper repeats. As a halfback in union, you're doing a lot more aerobic running, so you're kind of in that same gear the whole time until you like shift or something happens. So it was I used a different fitness system when I was playing league compared to union. So when I came back, I got a bit of a shock just with the amount of phases that you can go for. Yeah.
Were you working at the same time as well? You're in the academies and those kind of things. Did you have another job on the side that brought the money in for you?
Well, as a semi-professional rugby player in the middle ground, it's always very challenging. I spent the last 4 years doing that, and so straight out of school, I went and did my studies. I've still got a few papers left to complete my degree, which is Bachelor of Sports. So I just used that and started to look at things that I really enjoyed out of rugby. And it was almost a blessing with not being in the rugby scene because I was able to figure out my wants and drives outside of rugby. And I feel like I got a pretty good idea of what that is. I've currently got a couple businesses set up. So the coaching is one of them. And then also partnering with a whole bunch of brands through my brand called A Human Being as well. Just being able to just have a look, dabble in a few different things and areas, teacher aided for a bit and worked with a lot of kids when I was at the academy, and just finding out what I actually enjoy doing when there's not rugby there.
What is Human Being?
Obviously through rugby, we're exposed to a lot of very good, brands or companies, businesses that allow us to thrive and perform well. And I don't believe that it's just for rugby players. I think it should be for all humans. So I created A Human Being where I try to partner with and look to connect all humans together that help your well-being physically, mentally, emotionally, and yeah, just go from there. But it's currently a process and work, but we'll get there at a later date.
Your belief system in yourself, though, must be incredibly strong. I had a quick look on your social posts, and it's all business. Like you've definitely honed your craft, and you can see why you're making every post a winner at the moment.
It's what I love doing. So while I'm in the game, I might as well make the most of it.
Where did you get most of those drills from? Even the work you do in the gym in terms of getting the ball out of the base. It looks pretty technical, but all those micro skills do add up.
Being a halfback, it's pretty niche, and I suppose kind of fell in love with that part. Back in the academy with the Crusaders, I was we always do a bit of nines craft with each other, and we all kind of just helped each other grow, and kind of didn't want to stop that once I left the academy, so started my own little academy, and just started doing it on the side, as well as kind of allows me to grow in a different way as well, coaching.
So you're talking Bryn Hall, Drummy, those guys are in there with you down in the Crusaders, passing and box kicking and whatever else.
You get creative as you can do whatever drills you want. So when you come into the game, it's you've had ties had shields thrown at you, and you can expect whatever when you get on the field. So yeah, we did a lot of those sessions together, and in the academy as well once all the other younger boys came through.
If you look at I suppose the platform that Moana Pasifika is created, you look at Tupou Ta'iloa last season, and he's taken his game to another level again this season. Is it just the opportunity that you needed? I suppose that a few halfbacks have fallen over, but every time you came off the bench, I remember against the Force, there was a noticeable difference in terms of the speed of play of the whole team, but it was off the back of your work. Did you know that was crucial, that you made every post a winner in these last sort of 3 weeks to make sure you stayed there?
One thing that I've always brought since I was little is energy, and as soon as you get that opportunity to get out in the field, you've been hissing by the start of the week, and by the time you actually step foot on the field, you're ready to go. So really being able to take any opportunity that I get, hadn't really had too many opportunities with the minutes, so it's just fizzing to get out there, I guess.
The surname stands out. People all around the world know the name Lam when it comes to rugby, you know, going back through Pat, and then you look at AJ and Ben at the Hurricanes, and you're a Lam of that ilk.
Yeah, I suppose if you've got the last name Lamb, you're tied in there somewhere. My granddad's one of 21, so his brothers and sisters all through the generations, you know, you're all tied in there somewhere. So I'm currently living with Pat's brother, uncle and auntie here up in Auckland. So it's just been nice to reconnect up in Auckland. We've got some lammies scattered in Australia as well. And obviously there's a few over in Bristol too.
If you look at that, I suppose that connection, and I suppose that family, have you always had that connection, I suppose, with your Pasifika heritage in terms of wanting to play for Samoa?
I suppose it wasn't really these last few years where I kind of realized, you know, that we do have so much more family from mum's side. So it wasn't until probably I got named in Manu Samoa, as well as my sister, when she moved over to Brisbane and was able to reconnect with all of them. We lived in Christchurch, so we were probably almost really the only ones there that we knew of. So we never really had any connection or ties to connect. Obviously, as I've started to play for Samoa and up here with Moana, it's opened up those connections, and it's been really good.
Are you in contact with, you know, Ben and AJ and those guys? Like, I mean, I suppose you saw AJ last night when you had a grandfather with 21 siblings, the family spread.
Just getting to know everyone has been good. I crossed paths with AJ when I was in with Canterbury previously, and Nigel as well. So I just suppose as I've, you know, been living up here, it's been a lot easier. Me and AJ had a little interaction on the field. We got penalised, and I stole the ball from him, and he wanted it back, and I was like, I'm not giving it back to him. But I haven't caught up with them too much, just because we've been tied up here, training and whatnot. But yeah, we've all got distant uncles and aunties and cousins that were all kind of around the same age bracket. So it's been nice to just, you know, hang out with the wider family.
The thing that stands out about the Lam family is their love of contact. Does that run through your veins as well? And most of them aren't halfbacks, they're centres and loose forwards, but, you know?
Yeah, I probably thank my grandfather for those genes, probably the Samoan physicality.
You looked pretty hungry last night. I saw a couple of times you were covering the backfield and then just hitting the D-line at pace, trying to put pressure on it. You clearly do enjoy the physical side.
Yeah, I do. I genuinely think that's one of my strengths, making reads and getting up in someone's face, putting pressure on. I just feel like any patches that I can look to do that, I always try to just disrupt, just be a nuisance, use the energy as much as I can.
Now, obviously going into Moana Pasifika, you're under TANA UMAGA. What have you seen from Tana? What have you liked about his approach to being a head coach, and how's it worked for you?
They're just very welcoming, very humble. I suppose with Tana, he's great at connecting. So, you know, I haven't had too many long interactions, but you can tell they're meaningful. So I just suppose when you've got someone who cares a lot about the group, it goes a long way. Especially for an individual, you know, that's the last thing you want is to feel like an outsider. And he does a really good job with tying in the Pasifika values and all the Tongans and Samoans, and we're all connected. And so he does a really good job of that culture side of things.
You started on a casual contract. You're now playing full time with the Moana Pasifika. What's the next step? What do you need to achieve by the end of this year to make next year and the year after be what you want it to be?
Keep getting minutes. I feel like with the minutes that I've been blessed with at the moment now, go down south to NPC, to Otago, potentially go on the Samoa tours if I get selected for those as well, and prep for the World Cup.
Is your goal to, I suppose, remain in Super Rugby? You seem to be a guy that will go where the opportunity presents.
Whatever presents itself, I'm always open and willing to have a look. With the way rugby's trending now, obviously the overseas market's very appealing, but I think at the moment my focus is just preparing and setting myself up and putting my best foot forward to go to that World Cup. Whether that's playing here in New Zealand would be quite nice, getting some good minutes, and then next year I'm not too sure what it would look like. So,
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Joel. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on what you've achieved over the last year, and all the best for the rest of the year.
cheers, appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me on.